Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Rift Rivals Purple, where we just witnessed the LJL pick up the first 2 games of this relay format. Now it comes down to Rampage to see if they can do it again against the Gigabyte Marines to pick up a 3-0 and win the entire damn thing for Japan.
Well, it doesn't really, but it kind of does, Fish, because at the same time, they don't have to win. I mean, Rampage can go out. They can, I don't know, pick Nunu and Warwick and run around Summoner's Rift and just have a good time and let Dead FM, the best team at this tournament, absolutely clean up.
Yeah, absolutely they can. Ooh, pardon me.
You're right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely they can. Maybe a couple of days casting catching up. No, I think that this is definitely the marquee matchup. We have a few underperforming teams from the GPL, but this is the one where we expect big action. A lot of macro sort of elements coming to this game, and I'm actually quite excited to see it.
Yeah, I certainly am as well, because whilst they don't have to win, they will want to win. They've already taken down the Giants once, Fish. And if you can do it a second time, if you can silence all the doubters out there that this is a flash in the pan, that, Rampage, good, but Gigabyte Marines are going to take them down twice, and then the LJL will just win through depth and things like that. That's not how you want to win a tournament. You want to win as the favorites. You want to head towards that Worlds run, and you want to be ready for your region to perform well.
And I mean, Rampage made Gigabyte Marines look mortal in the group stages after picking up the victory there. A win through the entire series would completely shut them down because they were looking so good going to MSI, clear favorites coming into this tournament. It'd be massive for Rampage to pick up a single win against them in the next 2 games.
Yeah, it certainly would be. And I mean, I'm just flicking through my notepad, so excuse me for a second. But when we watched this this morning, I thought that it was an early snowball that just kept happening. And there were 2 kills before 3 minutes with a lot of action happening through the jungle. But they fumbled it, and then they were able to bring it back late game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We saw, both sides sort of pulling ahead at different stages in the game. We saw some, some shining stars from either side, and there was definitely some interesting decision making later in the game. But props to Rampage. I think they kept a cool head, and they were able to pull out the victory.
Yep. And that was a big thing to me, because we keep saying that the Marines, their macro game's better. They're playing patient, and then they're punishing mistakes, and they're beating people in a very mature and, like a major region kind of way. But at the same time, they completely lost their head. They were diving into Baron pits looking for steals in situations where they should have just team fought, getting picked off in the split push. Maybe the one game that Archie looked very exploitable up there in the top lane versus Evie. So we'll see whether that is a continued trend.
It certainly will. But for now, let's jump back to that last game. Detonation Focus Me taking on Ascension. We have Hinga standing by in Vietnam with their top laner Paz for a quick word.
Hey guys, I'm here with Paz, fresh off that victory. Congratulations on the win. And I want to ask about your Shen. He just doesn't die.
今日おめでとうございます。パズ君のシェンって全く死なないですよね。それに関して少し述べてもらえますか？
そうですね。やっぱ忍者なんで日本人が使ったら死ななくなるんじゃないですかね。
Well, he's a ninja, so if a Japanese player uses him, he probably doesn't die.
Very good. How's preparation been going into this? Were you guys feeling confident coming up, given that you'd already played this match?
この試合に関しての自信ってどこのくらいありました？で、これのための準備っていうのはどういったことをしました？
負ける気は一切なかったですね。準備は、相手チームの RPGvGAM を見たり、試合を見て、メタバンじゃないですけど、取られたら嫌なカリスタとかをバンした形ですね。
Yeah, so we had a lot of confidence going into the game. We looked over their OPGG and venom picks and stuff like that. So we made sure to get rid of the Callista, which we felt a little bit afraid of. So I think we were very confident going in.
But it was a dominant performance you guys led throughout the entire game, but it felt like you were playing a very patient style, a very restrained style. We worried about taking risks and maybe losing a dodgy team fight or something.
今回は他の試合よりすごいコンサバっていうか控えめの試合を、してたと思うんですけど、今回はそういった要はリスクを取らない試合をやってたんですか？
いや、多分ちょっと今回ベトナムに来てメンバーがかなり風邪ひいちゃって体調が悪かったので、ちょっと無意識になってたかもしれませんね。
Well, to be honest, some of our members had caught colds, so there were a few points where maybe we were just out of it, to be honest. So, it wasn't intentional.
All right, okay. Well, finally, Gigabyte Marines now take on Rampage in the 3rd game of the day, and the LJL might be able to clean sweep this. So give us a preview. What is your expectation of this 3rd game of the day?
今回ランページがガムと戦ってスイープができる可能性があるんですけど、パズさんの意見っていうか、これに対しての注目ポイントはどこですか？
注目ですか。 ランページならやってくれると信じてるんで、そんな可能性はないと思います。
We believe in Rampage, so I think it'll be a clean sweep this time around.
All right, so some synergy and solidarity from the LJL for their team. Thank you for speaking to us, and best of luck for Rampage for you guys.
There you go. Paz from Detonation Focus Me. I mean, he has faith in Rampage, but what the heck? 2 of their members have colds and they still like the best team in the tournament. What's going on?
Please don't let me have to face them on a good day when they're all feeling well. They looked very good, you know, for someone who is quote-unquote out of it.
Yeah.
You know, very scary team.
I mean, and this is just like, once again, I mean, we spoke about it with Jish, but the Japanese team so far, the whole of the LJL region look, you know, confident but humble at times. They're talking about how they're still giving respect during the draft, that they didn't want to drop anything there, that they're not feeling well, and they were a little bit out of it. But at the same time, they're throwing all their support behind who was their first place seed going into the MSI play-ins, and of course, therefore the first place seed here. And I like that out of a region. I mean, they're certainly backing each other in. You can tell that the preparations worked out, and they are playing confident League of Legends.
And they've really taken for what this tournament is, which is region against region. It's no longer individual teams. They're all working together. It's shown in their gameplay as well. And speaking of which, let's go into the final matchup for these seeds. It's going to be Rampage taking on Gigabyte Marines, the first place seeds from both LJL as well as the GPL. These are 2 incredible powerhouses, and it comes down to this for LJL. For Gigabyte Marines, they're still hoping they can pick up 2 wins and hoping Accenture could do it, a 3rd one for them to pick up the win.
Yeah, they definitely are hoping that they can, you know, take back-to-back wins against what has been quite a solid squad in Rampage. And you know, if any team's going to do it, though, it is Gigabyte Marines. You know, we saw them take 3 very nice games yesterday against the Oceanic squads. And I think that, you know, even if they can get their region to that final best-of-5 game, you know, it's not looking too hot there.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, if you're the Marines and you come out of the last 2 games as 5-0 and somehow the GPL doesn't win the tournament, that's not a poor reflection on you. That's a poor reflection on depth in the GPL, right? So Vietnam will certainly be able to hold their head high, especially as the host region. They would love that so much. At the same time, I think that even though Rampage dropped a game to Direwolves, it was a little bit of a different event. It was a little bit quicker around Summoner's Rift, and I think that as far as patient games go, how Gigabyte Marines have been playing, that Rampage will be a good opponent.
And speaking of which, let's take a look at their lineups really quickly. It's going to be Rampage taking on the Gigabyte Marines. For Rampage, it's Evie in the top lane, Tussle in the jungle, Ramune as their mid laner, Yutori Moyashi as their AD carry, and Dara as their support. Facing off against the GPL's Gigabyte Marines, who stormed through MSI and looked fantastic in the run against Oceania yesterday. Archie in the top lane, Levi in the jungle, Optimus mid lane, Noe, their new addition as the AD carry, and Sia, a superstar support who shocked everyone.
And if they're going to win this game, it's going to be Archie stepping up, because the game that they lost, he did not look good. He was attacked continually in the side lane, played Kennen into the Camille, and was camped out a little bit earlier. And I think that that is ultimately what ended up costing them so much of the map pressure. Yesterday he played well. He needs to do better today.
Yeah, we've seen little inklings to suggest that Archie is, you know, the communicator on the team, and he's directing the play. And, you know, when he's ahead, they have some fantastic flanks, and they have some really good map rotations, you know, where they're moving across 3 separate lanes, and, you know, they just look unstoppable. Whereas when he gets behind, you know, they look a bit sluggish, they look slow, and they don't necessarily have those same pressure points to play off.
And Rampage will be in the blue side of Summoner's Rift coming into this match. Does that change much coming into the draft phase for them?
I mean, we've seen a little bit of different, like, from my opinion, yes, it does, because of the double counter pick. But we've also seen a willingness from teams to, for some reason, blind pick strong matchups in solo lanes. So, I mean, I think it does. Have you got any more towards that?
For me, I think it's actually interesting because, you know, I'm going to really be focusing on this jungle matchup because these are 2 very impressive junglers. And I think that, you know, Rampage, being able to take the Rex side, being able to, you know, control whatever trade they sort of want with those more flexible bands and get Tussle onto this strong matchup. You know, I think that's how they're going to set themselves up for success.
Good point.
Yep, so we'll have to see if they're able to do just that. I mean...
That's why you're the coach. No, I'm the shoutcaster.
That's why I'm in Oceania and not in Vietnam. Or
yeah, I can't tell if that...
Come on, mate. You weren't here. You took Immortals to 7th place last split. You didn't even have a chance to get to this tournament.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you leave Oceania. Both the Chiefs dropped down to
back.
4th. Immortals dropped to 7th. What the hell's going on?
Nice.
I can never tell if you're actually being nice or not anymore,
no, I
Jay.
won't that anymore.
Oh, boy. But, you know, what else are we going to really look at between Rampage and Gigabyte Marines here? What's the big strong point? Because, you know, there's big contests in the jungle, but it seems like every point in the map, there's a big pivot for both teams.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, you could break down any matchup. Top laners, I mean, Evie's looked fantastic. Archie has also looked very good. For me, if it's not the jungle position, I'm looking towards the support, because at the same time, the Marines have a young support coming into this tournament, going up against Dara, who is very good, and I think that that is a matchup that you will be tested in.
I don't want to see Tom Kench from Gigabyte Marines. I don't want the Japanese squad to give it to them again, because that's shown that, you know, their macro with that, like the ultimate, and once they get level 6 and they can move around really fast, it is really good. So I'd like to see him taken off, you know, the safe negating lane in Tom Kench, and I want to see, you know, I want to see Dara on the thresh of the Braum and try to be, you know, a bit more brutal and aggressive in the lane.
And if you do pick it up, you better have a way to punish it versus like just winning the lane. Because we've seen they're happy to fall down a couple of CS in laning phase. It doesn't really matter. And even if you need something more than, you know, the Zyra answer, or maybe a Thresh to look to, you know, bully it around a little bit. You need to be able to take that turret early, beat it around the map before it comes online, or before the 80 carry that they're playing with really is working out, because their games are going to 35 minutes and Tom Kench is winning them games.
So the key point I think you mentioned there was you quickly slipped in the word 80 carry, and that's what I want to see. You know, if you're going to pick Tom Kench, I want to see maybe the hyper carry come out. You know, if something that's not going to punish you in lane, you know, maybe take the Jinx, as you were saying before. Yep. Maybe take Tristana. We haven't seen that on this tournament.
Triss would be so good.
But, you know, if Tom Kench is going to just, like, lose CS and fall back in lane, you know, think of something that's going to scale with it and, you know, punish it later in the stage of the game as well.
I mean, speaking of Tristana, it's a champion that the Gigabyte Marines have played recently in their current split in the Vietnamese League, and when they picked it up, they decided to go for a traditional lane swap at level 1. We're going to see that today?
I don't really care about the lane swap too much. I just think that Tristana is the strongest, like one of the strongest 80 carries on the current patch, because she's got very high mobility with resets. She's got one of the best attack speed steroids in the game, one of the best ranges, and is a fantastic user of crit. So, I mean, there's not really all that much more that you want out of your 80 carry, and she's not a bad laner to boot as well.
I mean, yeah, her lane phase is definitely not a strong point, so that's maybe why we don't see her as much. Yep. But, you know, she does get to go to that popular item build, and she does have a good scaling like game. And she's one of the few champions that does actually push turrets quite well, as we sort of mentioned that lane swap scenario. And that's, you know, why Caitlyn's also seeing a lot of priority, because we get those 7-minute turrets where, you know, no one's just actually having fun on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if that's going to be picked up. In the meantime, you can always go back towards jungle position. Levi's made such a name for himself internationally. We've seen teams blind ban his Lee Sin before any picks have come out. And he is going up against a formidable opponent of Tussle.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Tinnikins has his work cut out for him to be able to get Levi a good matchup here, because there's so many threats on the Rampage lineup. I mean, we've been through the fact that Tussle, Dara, Ramune, you cannot overlook. He's picking up level 4 solo kills and getting into this draft. I mean, as the coach, your job is kind of just to set up a strong part of the map. And I feel like if you're the Marines, you go towards Levi.
Well, let's see if they can do just that for Levi, because we are into picks and bans for match point at the moment. LJL currently 2-0 up against the GPL. Gigabyte Marines have 2 games to play against Rampage if they can pick up a victory in Game 1. After that, Game 5 is essentially against Dead FM.
And we see, you know, already they're cutting into CS champion pool. He's played very good games on that Thresh in his very first game at Rift Rivals. And, you know, he's had time and time again good performances on the Tom Kench. So I'm glad to see that, you know, Rampage is coming out with, you know, with intelligent draft, and they're looking to punish already.
And maybe a little bit of a show here, because they've banned away Zyra, so maybe the man doesn't have a Blitzcrank, because that would be the answerable pick there, and they don't want to give up a lot of lane pressure.
Well, the first 3 bans have come out from Rampage, as you mentioned. Thresh and Tom Kench both hitting the bans. Big respect towards the rookie of Sia, who, coming into the tournament, was listed as a substitute. Started for the team. Elise the ban coming out from Rampage. Gigabyte Marines, though. Rek'Sai, Zyra, as well as Zac, which means we have Galio left open. Let's see if they pick it up.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the blind Galio, because Fiora does beat it in the laning phase. You have to be able to flex it around in mid and top. I think that what we will see, however, is maybe priority put on Lee Sin or Caitlyn. I would like to see the Caitlyn, just because Moyashi, he's going to be another Varus game. The LJL Varus is a terrifying force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, obviously, you know, just a regional preference on that. Probably has a lot of success over there in their scrims and domestic league. But, you know, internationally, we're seeing that Caitlyn's drawing a lot of bans. So, you know, maybe not the smartest decision, but maybe something that they're more comfortable with.
And now do Gigabyte Marines? No, they don't. I was going to say, do they go Caitlyn, Galio? Again, once one of these OPs is left over, it's like, nah, we're not going to pick it at all. We're just going to go for Lulu, maybe a Gragas here. What the heck is going on? I thought I could read this draft like a book. Apparently I can't.
Yeah, and if it's a book, it's in a different language right now, Fish, because we're struggling as well. Gragas still has good priority over the jungle, with all of the picks that have been taken away, can be flexed into the top lane. Same time, Lee Sin historically has been okay into Gragas, but can get interrupted from his combo.
And it is one of Tussle's signature champions. Levi's as well, but we haven't seen him play it too much.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things in that matchup is that, you know, Lee Sin's really put on a bit of a timer, because he does have good early skirmishing. You know, Gragas does have the interrupts, and he has the better scaling, I'd say, later. So, you know, if that is the Gragas for Levi, which, you know, maybe not his first preference of champions.
Ooh, first one in the tournament.
Rakan being picked up here by Rampage.
What do you reckon about that one?
I reckon we're not going to talk about that joke ever again. No, actually, we were mentioning this morning in review, we're looking through the champions. We talked about how we hadn't seen a Galio, and, you know, we hadn't seen a Rakan. We saw an Alistair brought out last night, and, you know, off air, we just sort of said, you know, would Rakan have been better? And obviously, somehow, word got to Rampage.
They've done it. Sorry to cut you off,
Don't we
Jish.
look intelligent at this point?
Tristana's been locked in for Gigabyte Marines with a Lulu.
I mean, that's such a power pick. When you have a look at how much they've hit bottom lane, is it the safest lane? Probably not. But at the same time, Lulu is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting down there if it is the 2v2. And if it is the lane swap, having double range champion is incredibly important. I feel like an doofus for even mentioning lane swaps and double range champions, but you do have to point it out if it is the Marine.
And just the Chiefs were the team that went up against one of the GPL squads when they were still lane swapping with the new turret fortification. That was very early into the changes in the meta. Gigabyte Marines, though, they've been practicing this. This is a trick they had for MSI, which they didn't pull out. They used a different version of it, so to speak, but we've actually seen this from them in a regular split. It's when they pick up Tristana, they look for lane swaps.
Evie wants Camille. Sorry, just to interrupt this lane swap conversation. Jack's being banned away. Evie's played a couple of Camille games. Certainly wants it another time.
Yeah, and you'd have to say that the Renekton ban needs to follow. Otherwise, you know, there's still that safe answer in the Renekton pick into Camille. But, you know, interestingly, on the lane swaps, we've already seen Direwolves in their opening match against Gigabyte Marines have that, I want to say, 2014, like, invade at level 1 to get those lane swap wards. But yeah, no, so I think that teams, you know, they're not blind to this. They would have done their homework, and, you know, they are aware of the possibility of a lane swap. You know, I'm on Spawn side. You know, I hope we don't see a lane swap. I hope we don't have to talk about a lane swap, but...
Oh, I'm excited. I used to love lane swaps. Everyone used to hate watching it. I used to love it.
I used to like it when it was a legitimate
Where
strategy.
it would have made sense.
But touching on what Spawn said about the Jax ban here, it's a big respect ban as well, because after that game where Gigabyte Marines pulled out Jax, Archie went into an interview and said, I haven't played Jax in years. I just remember it left over from when I used to play top lane and, you know, had fun with it.
Take this with a grain of salt, because obviously I'm not a professional player, but Jax doesn't strike me as one of those champions that you have to put hours into to really be able to get it coming out all that much.
First Rakan. First... Don't do this to me. First Galio of the tournament, please.
Doesn't
I mean, they can still go for it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because what they're doing is AD carry wants to swap with top lane. Support wants to swap with mid lane.
Yep.
Galio mid lane is fine into Taliyah.
Drafting efficiency, getting the easiest swaps down. And one of the most, I guess, beautiful things about this combination of draft, if they take the Galio, is that the Rakan engage, and, you know, and he engages from practically a whole screen away with his dash and flash and jump and knock up and charm. And then, you know, if he has the Galio following in on top of him, that's actually such a potent engage.
Now,
especially if you throw the fact that Jarvan will be screaming Demacia and flying in with a big standard at the same time. So I love the team fight comp that's coming out of Rampage. They've got the 1-3-1 collapse that comes out of double teleport that comes out of... What the heck?
That's a Scion for the Gigabyte Marines being locked in as their final
Max Q
pick.
Scion. This is a lane swap. I hate calling it. But if it's not going to be Nasus with the AP build, Scion is one of the best defenders of turrets in the game. That's the only reason I can think to ever pick a Scion in a competitive match right now.
Yeah, no, actually, that's probably, you know, a smart read on it. I wonder if Rampage, you know, are thinking the same things right now. Obviously, this is, if you've done your homework, maybe there is, you know, a bit of giveaway, the Tristana, potentially the Scion. But I'm kind of interested to know, because if you do elect into this lane swap where you're opening up the map and moving around, you know, Rampage do actually have like a lot of global threat, you know, in the Galio with his TP and his ultimate. You know, is that the smartest thing to be doing, to open up like these longer lanes where you have things like, you know, the Taliyah and Tristana, who, you know, a little bit safe, but definitely can be caught out of position.
This is going to be so much fun. I'm excited to see what Tinikun has put together here for the GPL team, whereas the side of Rampage, whoa, this looks like a fun fighting team comp.
I mean, yeah, fun fighting team comp indeed, and I would almost say from both sides, right? The Tristana with the Lulu, especially once she gets to those 2-3 item marks, definitely not scared of team fighting. And, you know, even Taliyah too, Gragas definitely has, you know, they all have, you know, sort of nice little interactions in terms of knockbacks, knock-ups, you know, knock around. So, you know, it should actually be quite fun to see these teams dogpile into these 5-on-5s.
And that's what these two teams are fighting for. The Rift Rivals Trophy. Why it's in a tire, I have absolutely no idea. But
it's on the streets, mate. We're taking it to the streets where there's leftover tires everywhere.
And rip Oceania Graves put everywhere as well. But still, this is going to be a fun game to watch. Gigabyte Marines taking on the LGL's Rampage, both of them first seeds from their region. Just a reminder, this is the relay format. It is not the King of the Rift format that we saw yesterday. So the respective seeds only play against each other. LGL's second and third seeds have already won a game. If Rampage win, they will be the champions of Rift Rivals Purple.
And they will also probably go into what will be the World's plans if they make it, if Dead FM don't get there before them, who also look like a good team as the red hot favorites to get out. Because right now, the LJL look like a massive powerhouse, and they look like they have two teams. Stop the cameraman! We're at the final game possibly of the day, and he just gives us a cheeky Rip O sign in the background.
Yeah, if you're an Oceanic squad, raise your quals for the LGL. Try and get some revenge on the Oceanic squad. But still, I mean, finally, for the LGL squad. The GPL has had their moments. They've been able to send TPA to Worlds very early on. They had great infrastructure when they started and slowly weren't able to get back to that former glory. The Oceanic Pro League recently restructuring, has a lot of teams and gaming houses now, a lot of fully salaried players. The LGL, very young region, very new server, but every international tournament they've gone into, they're the dark horses. It'd be great to see them this year go in as actual favorites.
So Jake and I often have been throwing around these little Dragon Ball Z references in rehearsal, but now it's actually time for a good one. So they have the hyperbolic time chamber in that they're next door to Korea. So they get such good practice in terms of solo queue and, you know, even potential scrims, you know, especially against maybe the Korean challenger scene teams. You know, so they are young, but they are very efficient and, you know, routine and practiced. And we've heard all of the players and coaches say that they take their games very seriously, and so it's paying off for them.
Exactly right. I mean, when your dad is, you know, the Gohan is still very strong at a young age, Fish. That's just how Dragon Ball Z works.
Look, I've never watched Dragon Ball Z, so I have no idea what you just said. You two can go talk amongst yourself about that a little bit further if you have to. But we are on to Summoners Rift for what could be the final game of Rift Rivals Purple.
That was so perfectly timed. You're like, we're on to Summoners Rift, and the cameraman just took us off the edge. We were just gone for a second, but we're back.
Yep. At least we don't have any more zoom-ins on the frog that jumps off the rift at about 150.
So, Spawn, QMax Scion.
Yep.
Do you need the mana? Is the Doran's ring?
Is
this a giveaway?
I don't know.
That's it.
So it scales with AD. It doesn't scale with AP. Mana regen is the only thing I'm thinking about.
There is a Scion-only player on the Oceanic server, goes by Tildarella, that does this as well. It's incredibly frustrating. And look at that. They're starting to move towards top side. They've actually picked up Raptors.
I mean, what are they?
It's a lane swap.
Yeah, it's 100% a lane swap.
But super intelligent. We see that, you know, Evie is just sitting in that top lane brush because he does expect it. So he wants to grab as much experience now as he can because he is predicting they're going to come and push him out of the lane.
But Tussle needs to race towards his blue buff because otherwise he's going to get 3 buffs. You can see that Evie took out the melee creeps. Will take a lot of damage. As long as he doesn't die, this is absolutely fine.
There's an Ignite ticking and a big ball on top of him. Gets good damage down. A couple more autos would have been enough. But
he wants to back and teleport anyway. And what they want to start doing here, if it's anything like an old school lane swap, is, ooh, this is dangerous.
So this is going back to the first iteration of lane swaps we saw from TSM.
So what they wanted to do is they wanted to stack up the creep wave. So leave, kill all the range minions and leave all the melees up because then your wave starts building. Then there's 2 kinds of lane swaps. And Jish, you're probably better at this than I am. But there's a 2-wave lane swap and there's a 3-wave lane swap.
More importantly, we see a quick engage into the jungle.
Levi should be fine here. Tussle is level 2, already burned his abilities. But yes, there's 2 different types of lane swaps.
Yeah, so we see a couple of different variations. And, you know, what I think was became a lot more popular towards the end of lane swap's lifetime was the 2-wave push. And it was basically just the fact that, you know, you could build up the 2 waves and then, you know, timing, which by the way, this is a 3-wave push, so irrelevant, but you know, you would have enough early damage from minions and champions to take that early turret. But yeah, as you've said, they've elected to 3-wave push, and if we get to pan to top, you will see that, you know, they're already chunking down the turret very quickly. Conversely, Levi is here to save this turret.
And that's what I was going to say. Gragas and the QMax Scion, both going to max Qs, are going to be very potent at this. And Ramune actually needs to flash Fish.
Very early into the match, flashing away from Optimus.
Another interesting tidbit was just that, you know, No Way's actually started...
This is scary, and I'll get to that a bit later because Levi is going aggressive against Archie there. Sorry, against Yutori. And this is what we used to see in the first iteration of lane slots. When you have a team that's prepped for it with a Sion or a Gragas, or used to be Jarvan in the jungle that did this, they can actually go toe-to-toe against a weaker bottom lane duo.
Yeah, and now they can actually, you know, either look for a
Talia.
recall. Talia's coming down, as you mentioned, so you can look for a dive.
They're going for it. That's a flash forward. Levi gets good damage. Yutori's going to try and flash away. Archie gets first blood. Levi almost
He's
going
out
down.
of there.
Dara wants it. Turret hits him. The cannon
They
minions
all live.
attacking, and he will live. Dara trying to go back in. Levi flirting with death. Evie's here trying to clean this up. Optimus in trouble. He's going to flash away. Body bopped. Here comes Dara. Double knockup. He wants two for himself. Auto-attacking Levi. He'll get one. Evie coming back for the second. Optimus somehow escaped. Archie's in trouble. They need a bit more damage. Put down the flag, Evie. Doesn't matter. Double kill for Dara.
But it's only a double kill over to Dara, and you know, Rakan does get tankier, but doesn't really scale with all that much. And you can see top lane turret under fire, and No Way getting a big gold lead right now. He's already 11 CS up, and will be completely unharassed in this top lane.
Yeah, I guess so with the turret fortification, we see this top turret going down a lot slower than previously. But interestingly, as I tried to point out before we had the 4-minute shenanigans, No Way has gone with Doran's Blade, and Moyashi's gone with the Doran's Shield. So obviously, Moyashi definitely thinking he's heading into that 2v2 and looking to sustain, whereas No Way just wants to get the raw damage on the turret because, you know, he won't be trading with anyone.
I mean, this is really scary right now for Rampage because their Tristana is absolutely massive. You got a Lee Sin that's kind of been free farming around Summoner's Rift, but he hasn't done any counter jungling. Let's take another look at this turret dive. Optimus, obviously very practiced, pushes in. It's a good flash to bring you further back towards turret because turret is a safe zone at this stage of the game. But Archie also able to burn a flash, and they juggle turret aggro perfectly. Evie was a little bit sloppy here. As we take a look at it, he runs up. I think he has 2 points in his... actually, he doesn't, because he drops an E on his head afterwards. So Optimus just survives. And you should go for your HQ combo all the time because it gives you a gap closer. But I guess that should have been 3 kills and ended up being 2. Not the worst outcome, but having them on your support probably is.
Yeah.
I mean, we say that, but Dara was 7-1-1 last time. We saw Rampage pick up a victory.
That's true.
Not the worst. He's going to get a bit of control with this Sightstone.
Gigabyte Marine still sticking to this lane, so top lane turret is very low. No Way does good damage to this. You can see the E from Tristana just blows up after the final auto attack.
And I guess what's really interesting in the way they've drafted is that, you know, you can tell every piece of the puzzle for the Gigabyte Marines, you know, is important in their lane swap. So they have the jungler who has pretty safe wave clear.
Optimus is on his way top side of the map as well. He is level 6. Ramune is shadowing to make sure he can help out the Jarvan if he's needed. But look at that. First turret taken by Gigabyte Marines, top side of the map.
And tacking onto that, they have the mid lane who's always going to push and rotate the side lane. So that bottom gank dive was available. You know, him floating towards top was also very possible. You know, this is a very nice team composition coming out of the Gigabyte Marines.
It certainly is. And now, how far do you go? Because you've got a CS advantage. I wonder if they have enough for a BF. Probably not, and want to make it hit the turret. Of course, very important in a lane swap to not get frozen out on your weak side.
Tussle and Dara, though, looking for a pick onto Levi. They should have been a bit more patient, but Dara pulled the trigger. Now trying to just take blue buff away. Levi is was a level ahead of Tussle. They're now back even.
But Levi has Smite here, so Tussle backing out, knowing that he won't get this contest as Archie walks towards the blue buff.
I mean, Archie's 31 CS versus Jarvan that is only 18 with a kill as well. So it's the little thing in lane swap, the ability to be able to prepare your pick and also have the Gragas jungle to help shove off level 1, which was just so crucial to this game. And he's actually got an E max, so not the Q max. So potentially that's why he went with the Doran's Ring. There is an an AP scale on his E.
Goodness, Jarvan is still level 5. Archie has pretty much been in a duo lane, his higher level. Sia's going to try and come down with No Way to continue pushing. We'll find out pretty soon if he's going to continue pushing.
Looks like it. So No Way's down here. The barrel will be left behind, and all of a sudden you do have standard lanes, but it's a BF pickaxe versus just a longsword and boots. So definitely not the lane you want to be heading into as Zavaris.
Yeah, not great. I mean, first brick gold for No Way. 700 gold advantage for the GPL squad, and they're looking to try and break bottom lane outer as well. No Way just styling on them at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, it's not really just No Way. It's a whole team effort. This is what actual Team League of Legends looks like. Every single person in the Gigabyte Marines knows their piece in this composition.
Yeah, you know, we sort of almost joked at Mineski that they were bringing something new and trying out something that was a little in left field. Gigabyte Marines have raised them, you know, with the lane swap strategy that they've designed an entire team composition around, and they actually just look that much more rehearsed and practiced on it.
And we knew that this is something they had up their sleeve. We talked about it from day one, that we've seen them do this before. However, Rampage not reacting to it well so far.
Make you question how the game's supposed to be played, because I was thinking that this kind of thing shouldn't work. And that's why I thought we wouldn't see it. I thought it would work against weaker opponents and, you know, it would be able to get you a good gold advantage. But so far, against a team that we thought was very good, this has worked a treat.
So I think that commonly what we saw when teams continue to try lane swap, big engage from Dara.
Yeah, get some good damage onto Sia.
Buffer the Tristana jump, of course. So unless you're a Blitzcrank, not really all that good. And you have to buffer it a different way to get out of Blitzcrank's hook. Yeah,
so, you know, just getting the chunk and, you know, trying to keep their turret alive. But, you know, as I was saying, we sort of see that... I've completely forgot my point. Anyway, so the traditional answer to the lane swap was that when the turret fortification top was so strong, it meant that if you just... Optimus maybe going for the engage here.
They're trying to, but they actually lock down Dara. He's forced to use the ultimate on himself. Ramune's coming down as Galio, not enough to save them. He
hit the wall.
Uppercuts a wall. Tussel's trying to continue chasing. Sia is very low. If he can flash Q, he might be able to pick up a kill, but Optimus body blocking for his support.
And all of a sudden, they've got to push on the top side of the map. They're going to lose bottom lane turret as well. Noise comes back, so just should be able to return to speaking. And it's just, I mean, this is just a really frustrating way to lose an early game of League of Legends, because you feel, you know, as we were saying, a little bit cheated, a little bit cheesed, but at the same time you also have to respect it how well the Gigabyte Marines have crafted this and really executed on what was a game plan, because it's one thing for your coach to put it together, it's a completely separate thing for the team to be able to execute upon it.
Yeah, and you know that just because of all the different elements, you know, it's definitely not like a top-down coach to player sort of I guess methodology. They all sort of know their place and they all actually have inputted, you know, the mastery they sort of understand of their role is clearly showing through here.
And sorry guys, we know there are still some audio issues at the moment. We're looking to try and fix them as soon as possible.
But as I was sort of commenting earlier and then sort of forgot my point as our audio cut out, the interesting thing that the original answer to the lane swap post-turret fortification buff was that you would just, you know, pile into bot lane and you would take it down with 4 people, you know, maybe 5 if you can somehow get your mid laner there. But, you know, that is not how you know, Rampage elected to react, and Gigabyte Marines, you know, also had the two-man duo in Archie and Levi that could push it out, but that was the traditional answer, and I guess that, you know, lost to time maybe because they haven't actually practiced against this in so long.
And I think the big thing was that there was 2 people with ranged abilities clearing out versus what would have been, you know, 2.5 melees. I mean, you say that Rakan is a ranged champion. Does 425-ish range really count as ranged? I don't know if it does, but...
And you have to remember the big reason why lane swaps were killed is because everyone could just do it. No matter what champions you picked, you just lane swapped, you 4-turret, you just trade. But Gigabyte Marines, what they've decided to do is come up with a team composition that is designed to lane swap. If they lose a single piece of this puzzle, it probably doesn't work as effectively, and then the LJL squad can go back to those traditional counters. But completely drafting out of order, they don't take the Galio. They pick weird bottom lane duo. They pick a top laner that we haven't seen in forever.
And he's gone Righteous Glory, which of course has cooldown reduction in armor now. Good item, good first item. He's going to run quick.
Definitely a fun item, and you know, Archie on the Scion is already going to run very quick, so adding to that will just be a little bit more exciting.
So Gigabyte Marines are 1,500 gold ahead of Rampage. They also have a Rift Herald in the back pocket, which was picked up by Levi. So let's see what they decided to do. Bottom lane out of turret is also a couple of auto attacks away from being taken down.
Certainly is, but you can see that they still have to respect the kill threat that's going to come out of Dara. He's 2-1-0, has a cooldown reduction, Boots is pretty tanky and has that engaged with the quickness whenever he really wants to go for it. And the big thing about the flash engage that comes out of Rakan is you nearly cannot respond. It is so fast when it comes out and it hits multiple members that it's really difficult, especially with Galio continually cheating bottom lane, to try and play up on this turret.
Well, they have Optimus cheating down as well, has his ultimate. No way does get the satchel charge onto the turret. That will blow up. Yep. Almost a 3,000 gold lead for them.
Yeah, and just, you know, showing that they're working very well within their limits. you know, that turret sitting on 1 or 2 auto attacks, but you know, Noe and Sia will be very, very respectful and wait until Levi and Optimus can start floating down to the river to threaten that dive if they try contest for the turret.
So what do we have to see from the LGL now? They didn't react to this lane swap the right way at level 1. They've lost 2 turrets for it, and they're now about 2.5 thousand gold behind as well as a Rift Herald. How do they get back into this game?
So you have to imagine that Rampage have gone into this game drafting, you know, maybe not with the idea that they're going to be facing this lane swap. And they have actually put together, you know, quite a good composition. We see a little bit of trading, but assuming nothing will come from that. 2 tanks.
Wow,
Oh.
you assumed that, but Evie almost killed.
Emax from Archie actually does work.
Certainly does, of course, being able to get the mana as well from both the Doran's Ring as well as the first item, Righteous Glory. Oh,
They're going for a fight top lane. Evie has been jumped on. Flash away by Archie. Good knock up by Tussle and kicks him back as well.
That's really smart because otherwise in his undead status would have tried to kill him. But at the same time, they have to leave mid lane.
Good response.
Wall comes out and the Rift Herald's going to be here. So that will be a turret pickup, you have to imagine.
Big charge. That's going to take it down very low. No way she's going to sit here and auto attack. Romino tries to go in. We'll get a taunt off, but Rift Herald's still slapping away. All outer turrets have been broken by Gigabyte Marines.
But this could be a problem. So their the borderline cheesy strategy to get those turrets, you know, now has probably,
job.
yeah, probably that's where you expect it to get you to. You get those 3 outers. Maybe, unfortunately, they actually had to use the Rift Herald, which they might have wanted to keep for an inner. But now I kind of know, how do you push those inner turrets? Obviously, Rampage are going to have the quicker track between the inners on their side of the map to defend. You know, they've got very good wave clear in the terms of Varus and Galio. So now it becomes interesting is, does the team fight engage comp outscale the split pushes?
And not only that, I think that Rampage actually have better one-item champions. I mean, when you have a look at like the utility that Rakan is bringing right now, Blade of the Ruined King versus IE user, you generally give it to the Bork user. Galio's just a fat tank, and in the top lane, I mean, as soon as that Black Cleaver comes out right now, Evie is online. So I think that as far as this goes, I would rather be Rampage's team comp, even if they get to their items slightly late.
Yeah, and they haven't actually fallen behind that. You know that these items are going to be hugely blown out of proportion, and that the team fight will be majorly skewed. So as you're saying, that you know we should actually see some very even fights that you have to suspect go in favor of Rampage.
Let's see, 'cause there's still a gold lead behind. I'm curious to see how the GPL work with that. It's a big lead. 3,000 gold, 16 minutes is nothing to shy away from.
It's pretty decent. I mean, this is what Rampage had against Gigabyte Marines, to be fair.
Yep.
So it's a good gold lead, and the presence on the map is potentially more valuable, but it is certainly not insurmountable. So credit to Gigabyte Marines to get here, but also credit to Rampage for not just completely losing their head in this situation.
So it almost feels like now the tricky part for Gigabyte Marines is transitioning out from the first 3 turrets. Where do they attack next? Because right now they have that split push going on with Optimus in the bottom lane as well as Archie top side of the map. Tristana just holding mid lane.
I think you 1-3-1, you look to farm up. Tristana gets towards 2-3 items, and then anything can really happen. Because if you got a Lulu and Tristana with double Energizer items, she's a force to be reckoned with just by herself. So
Especially with Ardent Sensor.
yep. Certainly should be. No one's got an Ardent Sensor yet, but you expect that
When they get one.
Lulu's going to pick it up. I thought that you were saying that, I was like, Lulu has Ardent Sensor, Sightstone, and Moby Boots at 16? How did Sia get so much items?
Calm down, he's not Dara. He doesn't have 7 kills yet.
Even Dara doesn't. Dara's probably got less gold than him, to be honest.
Ooh.
So we do see that 3,000 gold lead, but sort of standing out to me on the map right now is that there are the 3 outer turrets still up for Gigabyte Marines, and you know, at any point if Rampage can push their side of the map out, you know, they are going to collect, you know, that relatively easy turret gold.
Yeah, completely agree. And, you know, they're giving up Mountain Drake, which is certainly a good Drake to pick up when you have turret advantages. But at the same time, Tussle is just jungling on the top side of the map and looking for red buff and takeaway and good deep vision and the ability to read the map. And if it stays like this, they're just going to free farm. Neither team is going to be able to push in right now with the vision coverage that they have. The Rampage has just done a great job of like control warding every entrance to the jungle.
Yep.
And they've got the short track, you know, through TP, through the use of the Galio ult.
They stop the bleeding, which is what they need to do.
And Rampage have these really, I guess, defensive and safe wards in their own jungle in the form of control wards. So they have, you know, quite safe, clear vision paths that they can get between their turrets, you know, without getting ganked or killed. You'd hope.
You hope. Fingers crossed. I mean, that's the plan for Rampage. The plan for Gigabyte Marines is get a pick in the jungle, push down another turret. Rinse and repeat until there are no turrets left and you have won the game.
There are on the way pings bottom lane from Optimus. He's down there with Levi.
I mean, that's
Ramune
two
is good
AP
pushing.
champions versus a very defensive
with
Galio at this stage.
Adaptive Helm.
So Talia does absolutely nothing against him. It's like the item was nearly designed to make her life miserable. Merc Tread, so the CC doesn't really matter either. So I don't think Ramune is the side of the 1-3-1 you attack. I would go for the double offensive item, Jarvan.
Yeah, he's picked up his Black Cleaver as well as Tiamat. Meanwhile, Archie's gone back to Blaze and picked up his Warden's Mail. Blaze, that's a word.
Where's Blaze? Is that next to the base, or is that a...
Back to the base.
It was almost like he tried to get a flace in there.
No,
How do you
stop.
flash base?
I don't know.
You flash into your base, mate, over the gate wall. Gate wall. Base wall.
Learn something new every day.
Here we
They're
go,
going for a
Cash.
gank onto Archie. Dara's not going to connect the knock-up. They still pop the Cataclysm.
Get
At the same time,
ulti
Levi
and
throws out
flash,
the
yeah.
Levi.
I mean, I think it should have been one or the other, but at the same time, no follow-up going to come through, and there isn't going to be a team fight anytime soon. Because look at the control wards. As you triple in the bottom side of the map, all three entrances. Top side of the map, just on the blue buff, sitting right there, as well as a little bit of a ward just off screen that we're not going to get to. I thought the pan was going to be super nice.
And slowly, Rampage are pulling back some gold. It's now back down to 2.5. You'd have to think if they could continue this for another 10 minutes, that might go back down to 2.
I mean, the bounce is actually just going to put it back to 3. So what's happening is Rampage at the moment, you can see he's crossing the river nearly in all 3 lanes. That's probably about 500 gold worth of minions, and then the gold's just going to be pushed back. And then we're just going to sit around the 3,000 gold mark. So not all that much really happening. Oh, goodness gracious. Is it going to be exactly that amount? That would be really nice.
Does appear to be approaching it. Nice maths spawn.
So this is what happens at this stage, right? You're just bouncing gold to each other and you're saying, no, you have some items. No, you have some items. Stop, really, me. And then at one point, they're just going to fight each other and they're going to be like, well, that's why we're trying to get towards this stage of the game. Tristana right now is heading towards first item. It looks like it's actually going to be Hurricane. Or am I crazy? Or maybe if it's going to be, I mean, Hurricane, or does Phantom Dance build out a double dagger still?
On the previous base, we actually saw, Noe sitting on 3 daggers. So he's just turned his first one into the Zeal, and maybe he continues to upgrade them as he goes along, collecting them like Pokemon gym badges or something. But you have to expect that with how potent the double Energizer with the Infinity Edge is on auto-attacking AD carries, that's where he goes.
Ooh, and this is interesting because all of a sudden, Rampage has made a move, and that is put the Jarvan in the Talia lane. And you would have to think, because he doesn't have genuine kill threat,
Well, they're trying to.
doesn't have genuine kill threat onto Archie anymore. Archie is just a brick wall, by the way, that you're going to trade farm into. Put him into the Talia lane and see if you can one-shot Talia.
Yeah, we were commenting on the Banshee's Veil and the Mercury Treads, which makes for a very boring AP versus AP matchup. But, if you're building this armor and damage items looking into the mage, then, maybe that is a pressure point.
Levi's still shadowing Optimus at the moment, making sure that he's safe. But where's the next move? At this rate, it's just going to keep palming back and forth.
There is no next move. I mean, honestly, we're seeing the next moves right now. It's the team fights that's going to take over.
And we are possibly heading towards that 2.5-hour game that we joked about. Maybe we're slowing them down for the... Hopefully not, guys. No,
given Ascension some time to practice and get good.
Yeah, I think they need
You
more than
said it,
2.5
mate, not me.
hours.
You're the GPL representative. You could throw get good memes around all you want. My region is currently watching this backstage, hopefully having a good old time over in Vietnam.
I thought, and I'm hoping that Ascension are able to pick up the reverse sweep with the help of Gigabyte Marines. That'd be a glad story.
Excitingly, we're seeing a little invade on the top side.
He's
Has
been
been
ignited.
Ignited? Ignited.
I'm going to go with ignited.
Cool.
Ignit's absolutely not a word.
Yep. Are you sure?
Is that the support for Misfits? Igna?
Igna,
I'm
yeah.
joking. So we do see a bit of proactivity coming out of Rampage, and it's kind of clever in the sense that they know that...
Actually, might get a turret here.
Well, yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
no, absolutely. As I was going to say, so they know that Evi's going to get that pressure in the bottom lane if they don't change Talia out of it. And in doing so, they send 4 people topside to draw pressure there, and he does get a free shove into that bottom lane, but walks away from turret.
Yeah, but at the same time, what you have to look at is they're lane swapping so early between the Talia and the Scion because of the lane wards that they're leaving behind. I mean, this is something that I haven't seen in a very long time in League of Legends, but they're checking lane assignments from nearly base as soon as they can possibly get it, and they're just continually bouncing it around.
When we said they did their homework, we were not joking. They know how to lane swap.
Now I remember why everyone hated casting lane swaps when Snake used to play this every single damn game in the LPL because it's 23 minutes. We've had 5 kills.
They happened in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah. which should not have happened.
And gold has not moved.
Now I understand why there was a change made to stop this happening every 50% of games.
It's 1,000 more, is it?
It's gone up by 1,000, so we're making slow incremental movements in the favor of the Marines.
Oh boy. Let's see what happens here. Archie is still an absolute brick.
Yeah,
He's going to pick up whatever he can.
I haven't missed Scion either. Not only have I not missed lane swaps, I have not missed Scion. The only thing I like about Scion is the ulti, and we haven't seen one yet.
Everyone dancing around bottom side jungle, but nothing comes out of it.
Ramune does have damage on top lane out of turret.
You mean, yeah, Ramune, yeah.
So they will trade a dragon for some chip damage. Optimus did use the wall to block off any attempt from Rampage getting towards that pit, and now he's rock surfing his way topside, see if he can defend that turret.
Yeah, Optimus using that ultimate to have even less fun in this game and no fighting. But top lane won't go down.
He just dashed himself through the pebbles, just showing him that you can flick me, you can do whatever you want. I honestly do not give a damn, because you don't do damage at this stage of the game. That is alpha. When you dash yourself through the pebbles.
Tussle, he's on the wrong side of the jungle.
Not really, because he's on this kind of strong side of the map. We've already said that there's a fat tank up there in the form of Ramune. And just like Archie can't really die in a 2v1, Ramune certainly can't. And, actually, Evie, starting to prove me wrong. He's doing some work down here.
I have to remember that. Jarvan has a lot of innate armor penetration. With Black Cleaver, makes it even worse.
Yep, certainly agree with you, Fish. I just thought, the W spam that's going to come out of a level 5 Archie.
He's going to go back to base or face check Jarvan.
Ult him. Put him in the arena.
Varus is coming down as well. I mean, Sion doesn't have a good escape, but can't get past that Cataclysm.
The Baron damage is actually pretty real right now out of the Gigabyte Marine squad.
Yep. So we won't see them go for that aggressive move. And, credit to Archie. We've been saying all week long that he does read these ganks pretty well, and he knows that if he pushes too deep, he will get punished for it. So, just dashing out into Fog of War there and playing a little bit safe when he has to.
I mean, he's seen that the clan tag for the LGL squad is RPG, and that's the game he's playing right now.
Everyone's playing the game right now.
They certainly are. Levi's in trouble, though.
Gonna get jumped on. Ramune hits a wall. Still tags him though. Taunt not gonna come through, but kick back. Galio's going to the skies. Knockup from Dara, throwing everything towards Levi to try and get a kill. Sia's jumped in. He's the next target. Mistake from Gigabyte Marines. Ramune gets the taunt, knocks him up, smacks him in the ground, and Archie's teleport up here as well. What a disaster for Gigabyte Marines.
It certainly is. Archie's gonna fall down probably here, and then they can get onto No Way as well, Fish.
They're trying to stop him. He's already used the ultimate. They cancel it. No Way trying to jump away. Cataclysm from Evie. No Way still trying to fight back against the wall. Optimus coming in. Low health bars from Rampage. Ramune trying to take up everything he can. Gets another knock-up. Archie is wailing away at this tag. No Way gets one kill. Trying to jump into the back lines. Flashes coming out of Rampage. Still Optimus going forward. Dara goes back in, but the rest of the team squids up. There goes No Way. Jumps in. Looking for resets. Can't get any more. At the end of the day, it's a 2-for-2 trade, but they get a top lane turret.
And we had more action in the last 40 seconds than we have for the last 20 minutes. Oh my goodness!
I really cannot wait to see that replay, because Evie did something sick that I want to point out. Flag, drag, flash, and actually got the double knock-up, which is actually really hard to execute upon.
Haven't seen that in forever.
He's a good player of League of Legends, but at the same time, the collapses come into Baron, so maybe not going to see it. If they get the Gragas in here, it's control warded, and this will be a very early Baron.
They do this so quick with a double Mountain Drake and the Tristana, so I think that this is
wards everywhere.
Completely uncontestable from Rampage. Gigabyte Marines will pick this one up for free.
They're teleporting into the mid lane, but Baron's already gone.
Yeah,
Ramune doesn't even cancel it.
There's no real point in cancelling it anyway. You're going to be fighting in your base now. Teleport not all that useful.
We commented on how that Gigabyte Marines looked a peg above their compatriots in Ascension and Mineski and didn't play that Chaos style, but they're proving us wrong now. They are playing for the fights, and I mean maybe not in fights, but they're playing to move everyone off this slow macro game that we said the LJL teams have been practiced and maybe a little bit better at.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. And with this Baron, it now becomes possible to defend a turret, potentially with 3 members. See where the Tussle can get in.
Oh, they're going in. Tussle kicks back Optimus. That's the mid laner. Big cast coming out from Levi, keeps him alive. Saya's going to try and keep him alive as well, but Tussle gets that kill. Redemption in between the turrets. Rampage need to try and duck out. No Way looking for the first kill. Gets the reset. Taunt comes out from Ramune, but he's going to bump on his head. Super Mario time from No Way. He'll get another kill. Double. Archie locks one down. Jumps on the second. Reset galore. Gets the triple kill. on the Tristana.
And this is why we were so excited to see Tristana. Great team fighter, great scaler with items, with the Baron buff, going to be able to push down waves. There's 2 members still alive, but this will at least be an inhibitor.
And we weren't sure how they were going to crack these inner turrets, but now we work it out. They can get the Baron when they come online with these powerful items like from Tristana, and they can sweep straight into this inhibitor.
My goodness, it looked like Rampage were holding on. It looked like they were going for it.
23 seconds on Rumune.
And they're still looking to try and continue pushing on forward.
And Archie can take the turret, so they're always going to have the creeps here.
My goodness, and Noe just does this so quickly. Dara tries to knock him up. Yutori trying to defend in his base, doing a good job so far. Gigabyte Marines are trying to retreat. Evie is back up, looking to try and collapse. They get an extra turret for themselves, push them further ahead, but they can't close out the game.
Extra turret's actually pretty big at this stage of the game, because what it means is that one wave of super creeps, hello YouTube bar, one wave of super creeps is going to be able to push into that base and take down the second turret, so you can't ignore it for that extra wave. And you could see that right now Rampage are getting desperate, and they shouldn't be. They went for a turret dive when really the play was just to push up mid lane wave, see if you can get some chip damage, and if not, just answer your sides, because you've got the late game team fighting comp.
That turret was also so low as well. They got the opening pick, and they could have just been content with that, and back off the turret, drop aggro, and then just siege it out, and then base and react to what Marines were doing across the map. Instead, they overextended for the dive, and we have another fight in bot river.
They've locked down Sia, getting so much damage onto him. Yutori gets that kill, and they get the return lock onto Levi, trying to body bop away. Evie's here, doesn't get the flag and drag. Levi wants to jump out of this pit. Another knockout comes through. Wants to get over the wall. He can't. Evie gets it. That's 2 picks for Rampage.
But is it going to be kills for objectives again in another Marines game? Because you can see Baron buff, Tristana in the bottom lane. They're not going to send anyone back straight away. They have to deal with mid. They have to deal with top.
They were happy feeding. Rakan was walking bottom. There were pings on the Dragon, and only now if they both started their recalls will finally get back to base.
I mean, they are in behind Talia with 2 members. Banshee's Veil will be big here.
Optimus pops the Ghost, trying to run away. Tussle cheating around backside. There's the Cataclysm. Optimus wants to get out of there, but he just can't. Another pick for Rampage.
Yeah, it certainly is a pretty good pick as well. Optimus had a couple of kills there, and they're going to be able to shut down the wave clear. But they still don't get a turret fish, so 6,000 gold, actually closer to 7,000 gold to be honest, is the lead right now for the Gigabyte Marines, and at 30 minutes, that is certainly impactful.
Yep, and it stings. Rampage, they were playing it so well after the first 3 turrets dropped. Not well enough.
But the one thing I will say is that at a certain point in the game, this annoying pushing style kind of becomes irrelevant. It becomes how well you can execute a team fight, because they didn't win the game off their first big push, so you would expect it to come down to a Baron fight or come down to an Elder Drake fight. It's going to be so hard to force them around the map when their base is only so big. They have to draw them out. They have to be able to pick something up and either, race them across the map or be able to win that team fight 5v5.
They do, however, have a level 16 Tristana. 3 items picked up, 2 components sitting on with a support Lulu, a Gragas, and a front line Scion. It's difficult to get on top of Noe.
I mean, it certainly is. At the same time, at this stage of the game, and people don't talk about this very much because we've seen the penetration build come out of Varus so often, but auto attack Varus does a lot of damage as well. And when you're fighting front to back, with Galio as your major take, with a diver in the form of the Lee Sin as well as the Jarvan, there are certainly still threats to have to deal with. The big factor is the gold lead that Noe is sitting on. Because that extra item, being the last Whisper, completed, could be the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he's also just picked up his Blade of the Ring King, so he's sitting very comfortably at the moment. As we see Gigabyte Marines all slowly heading towards this bottom side of the map.
Noe's
do they
pretty
just
far
force
away.
again?
Let's see if they do go for the force. Noe's already rocket jumping back to this lane. He wants to get there as soon as possible. Rampage do group up. Sia might be caught out though.
So I think the Marines don't force because they have that pressure mid lane, and we've seen how patient the Marines can be. They are happy to play this slow, methodical macro game.
Whereas Rampage now force.
Yeah, so I think Rampage on the other foot really need to look for their go button, because if they just let this mid lane keep piling down, then
Certainly are, and you can see Galio is going to cheat into Fog of War. They've got a couple of members here. Is this the turret to go
Tussle's
on, however?
going. Tussle's making the move. If you watch the minimap, he's now going over the wall, wants to get behind Gigabyte Marines. Rampage charging forward.
Hit the Q, but not going to go for it.
Decides not to go. And now Gigabyte Marines want to try and return the favor. Optimus still doing a good job of pushing mid lane.
I mean, that's probably going to be the turret falling down, right? Because all of a sudden you can't get back in position for your flank. Tristana one-shots a wave at this stage of the game.
Yeah, it's just going to hit this turret as well. No minions required. Gigabyte Marines take another inner.
But the map is small, and this is what we were talking about. Now the map is very small. You cannot continue to shove in, although the Talia wall helps out.
Yeah, Evie stuck, but that's not going to last too long. The wave hasn't hit the turret just yet. Tristana will get a couple of shots and take it down to half health. Let's see if Rampage can respond. They want to initiate. Tussel's trying to wrap around. Good poke onto the turret. They don't kill it, though.
I mean, you only need one more of those, though, Fish. I mean, we're talking about how hard it can be
Tussle
to do this, but at the same time, the map is so tiny. Tussle is behind them.
Don't think he's been spotted either. Finally will be
Ooh,
spotted.
root
Good
lands.
root. That lands on the key target of No Way. He'll cleanse and flash away. Tussle yet to kick. Ramirez popped his ultimate very early. Redemption comes out trying to keep Rampage alive. Big ultimate coming out from Evie. They're all going to flash away. Tussle still gets No Way, but he's going to flash as well. Evie follows through, but they don't have enough damage onto the Tristana, who is now going to start her rocket jump journey into the backlines. Gets a double. Ramirez the next target to fall, and Gigabyte Marines are pushing for the win.
And that might be the game, honestly, because they've got 4 members still left alive. They're going to take the middle inhibitor. There is 40 seconds left on the nearest death timer, and Moyashi and Dara have to go massive here.
It's got to be a miracle. No summoner spells for Gigabyte Marines, but only one turret to work with. Dara's going to jump in first, immediately turned into a critter. Yutori kept busy by ultimates, and there goes No Way, jumping on their heads, picks up a kill, shut down for Levi. Gigabyte Marines keep the dreams alive for the GPL. They'll pick back a point against Rampage, and they'll take it to game number 4.
And such a cool way to win the first game. I mean, the lane swap, as well as the teamfight ability of Tristana, really carries everything there. I mean, able to get the early game they need, and then with that goal, she transitions so well into a late game build, circumventing the weakness of the laning phase. That's very clutch League of Legends.
And how deep are the Gigabyte Marines pockets? We made them, well, we saw them play 3 games yesterday after the group stages, and they had to fight back to back to get even to today. Now they show a completely new strategy to the Rift Rivals tournament, and they're ready, I'm sure, to go into this game again. What does Rampage do to respond?
I mean, I think step number 1, ban Tristana. I think that has to be what the response is, and see if they can play it with another 80 carry. You might get an equally as good turret pusher, but do you get the equally good turret pusher team fighter that you need to be able to make this work? Because I think that is a completely different kettle of fish.
It certainly is. And now on top of that, Gigabyte Marines pick up a game. Ascension must be backstage going, oh, we need to play the third one if they win game number 2. GPL squad still not out of deep water just yet.
Yeah, no, they're still paddling around in very, very deep water, but, you know, they have to take it one game at a time, as they did yesterday. So I think that, you know, credit to Marines. They showed that they were very composed and they had a new strategy ready for today. And I'm excited to see, you know, as you just said, how do they change it? So I think that the Tristana is definitely, you know, one massive option that they forced them to ban. But I think the Gigabyte Marines don't even have to go back towards that style. Now that Rampage are aware to it, they will have a better level 1 response. And I think Marines, you know, just force different bans and change the draft and then play their clean macro game as they have all week.
Yeah, I hope to see that, because we once again saw like good patience play. Like that got them a 3,000 gold lead, but ultimately it didn't win them the game. The team fighting won them the game, and the ability to take the team fights that they wanted off the back end of, you know, good Talia walls, good objective controls, a very good snuck Baron. So like there's so many things in that game that you can pick apart and actually be incredibly happy with as a Gigabyte Marine. So I agree. I don't think they have to go back to the same composition. I think that they've shown in a 5v5 setting they can take it to Rampage, and now the shoes in Rampage's foot and see whether they can respond to it, because unlike every LJL person that we've talked to today, this is not a 3-0.
Yeah. And we'll have to see if they're able to pick it up as a 4-1 at least, because Rampage still have one more match against Gigabyte Marines, which will come up.
Best of 5s don't normally have 4-1.
Sorry, 3-1 with the LGL squad. I mean, they're going to play against each other in the next match, and we are going to go into a very quick break, but we're back with the second match between Rampage and Gigabyte Marines. Don't go anywhere. That's a flash forward. Levi gets good damage. Yutori's going to try and flash away. Archie gets first blood. Levi almost going down. Dara wants a turret, hits him. The cannon minions attacking, and he will live. Dara trying to go back in. Levi flirting with them. Evie's here trying to clean this up. Optimus in trouble. He's going to flash away. Body bombs. Here comes Dara. Double knockup. He wants 2 for himself. Auto attacking Levi. He'll get 1. Evie coming back for the second. Optimus somehow escaped. Archie's in trouble. They need a bit more damage. Put down the flag, Evie. Doesn't matter. Double kill for Dara. Sia's jumped in. He's the next target. Mistake from Gigabyte Marines. Urune gets the taunt. Knocks him up. Smacks him in the ground. And Archie's teleport up here as well. What a disaster for Gigabyte Marines.
It certainly is. Archie's going to fall down probably here, and then they can get onto No Way as well, Fish.
They're trying to stop him. He's already used the ultimate. They cancel it. No Way trying to jump away. Cataclysm from Evie. No Way still trying to fight back against the wall. Optimus coming in. Low health fast from Rampage. Romune trying to take up everything he can. Gets another knock up. Archie's wailing away at this tag. No Way gets 1 kill. Trying to jump into the back lines. Flashes coming out of Rampage. Still Optimus going forward. Dara goes back in, but the rest of the team squids off. There goes No Way. Jumps in. Looking for resets. Can't get any more.
Get in.
Oh, they're going in. Tussle kicks back Optimus. That's the mid laner. Big cast coming out from Levi. Keeps him alive. Saya's going to try and keep him alive as well, but Tussle gets that kill. Redemption in between the turrets. Rampage need to try and duck out. No Way looking for the first kill. Gets the reset. Taunt comes out from Unit, but he's going to bump on his head. Super Mario time from No Way. He'll get another kill. Double. Archie locks one down. Jumps on the second. Reset galore. Gets the triple kill on the Tristana. It's got to be a miracle. No summoner spells for Gigabyte Marines, but only one turn to work with. Dara's going to jump in first. Immediately turned into a critter. Yutori kept busy by Ultimates, and there goes No Way, jumping on their heads, picks up a kill, shut down for Levi. Gigabyte Marines keep the dreams alive for the GPL. They'll pick back a point against Rampage, and they'll take it to game number 4.